Good afternoon, Rotarians.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for attending our October 9th meeting of the Rotary Club of Des Moines. I'm your president, Tim Lilowitz. Not that I have to explain my wardrobe every week, but I'm wearing a shirt in support of our speaker today. My worlds are sort of colliding in that one of the other boards I serve on is the Iowa chapter of the International Association of Arson Investigators. So that's where this shirt comes from, and arson deterrence is one of the many tasks that our speaker is tasked with in his department today. So again, not that you need that explanation, but that's why my shirt looks like the state of Iowa is on fire. Thanks to Matt Kiernan and President-elect Josh Brady for being greeters today. Appreciate it. And Mr. Bob Vedrill has signed up to give the moment of inspiration and the Pledge of Allegiance. So remember, you can sign up to do the same in the lobby if you feel so inclined. So Bob, come on up, and then after that, we'll greet our fellow Rotarians.
In our current time, the tests of truth, values, and fairness are being tested on a daily basis. With that, I wanted to share some history of the Rotary four-way test and how it came to be. Herbert J. Taylor is the author of the test. However, it did not originate with Rotary. Born in Michigan in 1893, he worked his way through Northwestern University. After graduation, he went to France on a mission with the YMCA and also the British Army Welfare Service and in the U.S. Navy Supply Corps in World War I. In 1925, he returned to Chicago. After time with Jewel Tea Company, he was asked to assist in reviving the near bankrupt Club Aluminum Company of Chicago, a cookware manufacturer. As its president, he crafted an ethical guideline for the company. Herb's first draft was 100 words, and he decided it was too long. He got it down to 7 points, and he decided that was too long. Finally, he got it down to the 4 points that are the four-way test. With those values, he ran the company. The company became successful. In 1942, Richard Werner of Chicago, then a director of Rotary International, suggested that Rotary adopt the test, and it was adopted. Herb Taylor transferred the copyright to Rotary International when he served as the president in 1954 to 1955. As we look at the definition of the four-way test, I looked at the words behind, the key words behind our test. Is it the truth? Truth and sincerity in action, character, and utterance. Is it fair to all concerned? Fair, free from self-interest, prejudice, or favoritism. Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Goodwill, a kindly feeling of approval and support, benevolent interest, or concern. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Beneficial, producing good results or helpful effects. As we go about our daily lives with all the political and social issues that we are presented to us on an ongoing basis, let us all remember those values that were created for us as Rotarians and how we applied them in our lives. And lastly, I'd like to read a quote from the late Jane Goodall. You may not know it, you may not find it, but your life matters, and you are here for a reason. I hope that reason will become apparent as you live through your life. I want you to know that whether or not you find that role you're supposed to play, your life does matter, and that every single day you live, you make a difference in the world, and you get to choose the difference that you make. So with that, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test.
Is the truth, is it fair to all concerned, will it build goodwill and better friendships, will it be beneficial to all concerned.
And now greet your fellow Rotarian.
Thank you, Bob, for sharing your time with us. How are you? Good. Good.
Carl, good to see you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You know, whether we need it or not, it all depends.
All right. We do have two guests visiting us today. So, guests, when I call your name, if you'd please just stand, and then we'll recognize you both here after I'm done. So, our first guest is Bridget Rasmussen in the back from iSpace Environments, a guest of Caleb Bruce. And the second guest, Doyle Sanders, who's been here before, but a visiting Rotarian from the Northwest Des Moines Rotary Club and a fellow attorney at Dickinson Bradshaw. Thank you both for being with us today. Appreciate it. Thanks to our own Christina Smith and Community Support Advocates for sponsoring the table flyer that's on your tables today. They're celebrating their 21st annual Works of Growth and Recovery. This is an art exhibition featuring the work of local artists with disabilities. The opening reception of this event is always inspiring and beautiful, and this year it will be held next Thursday, the 16th, from 6 to 8 at the Olson Larson Gallery in Valley Junction. So hope you can make it, and again, be sure to check out the flyer on your tables, and thanks to Christina for her $50 donation to the Rotary Club of Des Moines Foundation. And you can sponsor a table flyer if you feel so inclined. Just see Kitty for more details on that. All right, also on your table, a few more announcements. Also on your table are signups to donate to help for our annual warm coat drive for the kids at Orchard Place. So last week, our community service chair, Ann Schmerdla, asked us to help make a difference in kids' lives. She gave a presentation, a nice speech on that. So I think as of today, we are halfway, or perhaps a little bit more than halfway to our goal. And we have until next Thursday the 16th to make it. So again, please, if you feel so inclined, fill out the form on your table. We can bill your Rotary account, or you can bring a check or cash if you prefer. The other quick follow-up announcement, the Civitas Greater Des Moines Rotary Multi-Club event, putting an end to human trafficking, is next Wednesday, the 15th, at the Hilton Garden Inn in West Des Moines. Our own Carl Schilling is our club rep, and he spoke about that last week if you were here. Again, the cost is $25, and again, we can bill your account, and you can read more about that on your lunch table as well. The program begins at 5 p.m. Just a reminder, the deadline for that is today to sign up, so if you'd like to attend that, please check out that flyer on your table. All right, next announcement will come from our president-elect, Mr. Josh Bravies. He has an announcement on his hard work in leading our fellowship task force. So, Josh?
Okay, also on your table, you'll see a checklist. It's a fillable form for fellowship program. So we were up a couple months ago and talked about fellowships and trying to get to know one another on a more personal level outside of our Thursday meetings. So we assembled a committee. I think Austin's the only one here that I saw. So Austin Goodnight in the back, Carter Smith, Christy Edwards, Sam Souders, myself, and Joe Sweeney have met. We created this form. I did not twist their arm, but each of them stepped up and are actually championing their own fellowship group. So you'll see on the form, pretty straightforward. Fill out your name. Austin is going to help Harvey with the golf group. So our intent is to try to have a fellowship at least once every quarter if you're in that specific fellowship. So golf, Harvey does a really great job in the summertime. Austin is going to help pick that up over the winter with maybe some sim golf or even some golden tee, if we could find some old school golden tee fun. Christy is going to host a bourbon club or champion the bourbon club effort. So again, whether we meet at a place or someone has a bourbon collection they want to host, that will be for the bourbon club. Carter and myself are going to kind of tag team the dinner club, which is either you host a meal at your home, or if you have a new restaurant that you like or a favorite restaurant, we'll throw that out there and just come as you are, bring your significant other, and we'll just have a great time over a meal. Carter, where's Kevin? I saw Kevin here. Carter is going to champion March Madness. I'm almost going to redub this as to like esports, so it'll tailor into fantasy football in the fall next year. Maybe it's a fun Ryder Cup type of duo, and then if anyone wants to wager, Kyle is volunteering lines of credit at the bank, so see Kyle for any financial needs on that. Randy is going to continue with the Wheels Fellowship, and then Joe Sweeney, newer member, very interesting, very well traveled, is going to lead a travel group, and that can be share stories about your favorite places, help advise on trips that you would like to go to. He's, I think, over 20 some countries that he has been to, so a perfect role for him. And then there's also a place, if you have an idea, if you're passionate about something, please fill it out. Our committee is going to assist as needed to help keep the fellowships alive, keep them going, provide support for the fellowship leaders. So bring your own idea, write in whatever you're interested in, and we're happy to help support in any way we can. So really the intent is to fill out the flyer. This will come out in the bulletin. As new fellowships get created, we'll also resend the form out. It'll go out in the new membership packets. Club Runner will have you basically like a committee. You'll be in the Club Runner group, so you can see files, share files, get on the group emails, that sort of thing. So let's really fill our fellowships as much as we can. If you have ideas, please fill them out. Fill out the forms today if you can. Leave them up here with Kitty. She'll certainly get them input into Club Runner, or like I said, they'll go out electronically in the bulletin, and you can fill them out there as well. So, thank you.
Thank you, Josh. You know, when and Kevin's talked about it last year, and I've talked about it a little this year as part of our strategic three-year plan. Fellowship was something that I know in the surveys that always scored very high with you guys. So we're trying really hard to put a lot more fellowship opportunities out there, so that I know all of us can't be here every Thursday, so we get to know each other just outside of meetings as well. So thanks, Josh, for leading that effort. So now, because we're not missing it 2 weeks in a row.
The iPad died.
Yeah.
Of course.
Thank you, Josh. iPad died. We need a better IT staff now to
Take a battery.
Yeah, right. We have batteries here. Rotary Law and Disorder. Again, we're not going to miss it 2 weeks in a row because I know it's backed by popular demand. Again, for our guests, this is the segment where I bring a little humor to my profession, the legal profession, or court proceedings, or that sort of thing. So, as I mentioned earlier, part of my practice is working with insurance companies on suspicious insurance claims that often involve fire and arson. And while I have many great stories about that, it's probably not appropriate for me to speak about those in public and then post it to YouTube for any of the people that I've dealt with and potentially looking at that. So I did scour the internet, and I found a great story from 2022, Detroit Lakes, Minnesota. A Christian outreach center was struggling financially, and after it was destroyed in a fire, of course, a $500,000 insurance claim was submitted to the insurer. And as part of the investigation of that fire, the fire investigators, I'm sure in Minnesota, didn't like me talking about fire investigation, did it? Just like here in Iowa, the investigators that work under our speaker, the Minnesota fire investigators came out and they noticed a very well-defined fingerprint on the rear door to the Christian Outreach Center. So the state crime lab came in and analyzed the fingerprint, and it was registered to a Gary John Bogatz Jr. So of course the law enforcement goes out and talks to Mr. Bogatz Jr., and when questioned, he confessed that the board members of the Christian Outreach Center told him the center would soon close unless, quote, something happened. But that center was very well insured, they also told him. So it turns out, as he was questioned further, that he was instructed by this board to make it look like a burglary and burn the Christian Resource Center down. Of course, the insurance claim was denied, and he was sentenced to 5 years and 8 months in prison. The fingerprint I mentioned, however, is the interesting twist. It turns out that there were some dessert bars with very thick frosting on the counter in the resource center when Mr. Bogatz Jr. entered, and he happened to eat a few of those before setting the place on fire and leaving. And it turns out he did not wipe his fingers very cleanly, because that sugary, oily frosting left a permanent fingerprint on the back door handle, and that's how that was discovered. So does anyone know the joke? The dessert bars were his guilty pleasure, Kyle.
Or just dessert.
Or just dessert in general. So that is your Rotary Law and Disorder for today. So I know you'll be waiting with bated breath for next week. Past President Sean Mullen will now introduce our speaker. Sean?
Thank you, President Tim. Fellow Rotarians and guests, prior to introducing today's guest speaker, I draw your attention to the pamphlet and batteries at your place setting. These are compliments of Protect Central and our vendor, Interstate Batteries, in recognition of the importance of assuring your residential smoke detectors have the power to respond when called upon. According to the latest National Fire Protection Association research, when working smoke alarms are present, the risk of dying in a home fire is cut by 60%. Say it with me, 60%. Roughly 3 out of 5 fire deaths happen in homes with either no smoke alarms or no working smoke alarms. Please know, in my 40 years of success in the fire protection industry, it has not been built upon selling on fear, but rather by providing valuable, third-party validated, factual information, such as I'm sharing with you today. When you arrive home tonight, please take a few moments to change your smoke alarm's batteries with those at your setting. If you've already changed them, good for you. In which case, please share these batteries with other family members or your neighbors. If you do not have smoke alarms in your home, I give you full permission to go out and buy a couple, okay? If you're not sure what you should buy, see me after today's meeting and I'll share my thoughts on what might work well for you and your family. This week, across the country, we are observing National Fire Protection Week, the longest running public health observance in the United States. The National Fire Protection Association has sponsored it since 1922, and in 1925, President Calvin Coolidge proclaimed it a national observance. For more than a century, this week has been devoted to teaching families, schools, and communities how to stay safer in case of fire. The timing of this observance is deliberate. Fire Prevention Week is held each year during the week of October 9 to mark the anniversary of the Great Chicago Fire of 1871, which killed more than 250 people, destroyed more than 17,000 buildings, and left approximately 100,000 residents homeless. But what is often forgotten is that commensurate with that fateful fire was an even more catastrophic event that swept through Peshtigo, Wisconsin. The Peshtigo fire consumed over 1 million acres, destroyed entire towns, and claimed an estimated 2,400 lives, making it the deadliest wildfire in American history. Both tragedies serve as sobering reminders of why fire safety and fire prevention matter. Out of those ashes grew not only stronger building practices and fire codes, but also a national commitment to education, awareness, and preparedness. Here in Iowa, the Iowa State Fire Marshal's Office is central to carrying out that mission. Fire marshals are more than investigators and regulators. They are guardians of the codes and standards that protect our people, property, and processes every single day. They guide local fire departments, educate the public, and ensure that lessons learned from past disasters continue to save lives. Today, we are honored to welcome one of those guardians of safety. Please join me in giving a warm Rotary welcome to Dan Wood, our Iowa State Fire Marshal.
Thank you for having me. Awesome introduction. I can't follow that up, so I'll leave you. No, I don't have any good dad jokes either. So. Mine are probably maybe slightly inappropriate. No, but anyway, yeah, Sean, thanks for the introduction. That was great. Real quick about the Fire Marshal Division. We have investigators around the state, and they investigate fires and or explosives, explosive-related call-outs. So, you know, we got folks sprinkled around the state. We look at fires, you know, sometimes they're criminal, sometimes they're not. You never know until you get there. Sometimes we also run into people that are less than honest, you know, in our cases also, and there's some anecdotes I could share, but again, it's probably not appropriate to put some of our cases out there. You know, the other thing we look at, is, like I said, is explosives. We do have 2 bomb dogs. Nobody really cares about our agents. They want to know about our dogs. We do have 2 bomb dogs, one in Cedar Rapids and one in Carroll. They're all over the state. Most of the time you're not going to see them because they'll be at an event before you get there. They'll go to the football games. They'll go to the racetrack, state fair, you know, events at the Capitol. A lot of times they're there, they sweep, and they're gone before you even arrive. They give you that next layer of protection that you don't really think about. We also get called for them for, you know, suspected devices too, but they're more of a clearance tool than than something that we go up and use as a tool when we know we have or possibly have something. Those dogs, they live with their handlers. They retire with their handlers. So the families get to play with them. We have 2 yellow labs. Very playful dogs, but when it's time to work, they love to work too. So the other part of our office, it's the Iowa Fire Service Training Bureau. It used to be up in Ames, now it's out at Camp Dodge. We have an office building out there, then we also have a training center that we just built this year through RIF funds to the legislature. So we got a nice training facility. So Fire Service Training Bureau, they educate firefighters, they certify firefighters, and that's, you know, your volunteers, your part-time folks, your full-time folks. So across the board training and educating firefighters. So that's kind of what our office is about. So thought I would today talk about the topic this year for National Fire Prevention Week. this is a presentation put together by National Fire Protection Association. They also make, different, and you'll see later in the presentation, they make different handouts for little kids, adults, it's the gamut. It's the business folks like you, it's the people in nursing homes, it's the little kids, and they try to tailor different presentations to that. So I gave you guys the adult one. The kid one is good too. There's tons of fire departments around the state right now going out and visiting those daycares and schools and nursing homes and different places, educating people this week, and really doing that fire prevention week. And I know it sounds maybe cliche or maybe kind of old-fashioned, but fire prevention is all of our business. And I think maybe a few years ago that was one of the topics that NFPA put out there, but they do a good job of coming up with new, fresh topics. And they give us presentations, and they give us handouts, and they give us different tools to use for free, which is nice for us because we don't have budgets. So it's nice for us to be able to get out there and be able to present stuff like this. So today, talking about the lithium-ion batteries, and there's certain things that they want to make sure we cover. So if I look down and read, that's what I'm doing. It's stuff that they really want us to cover. So lithium-ion batteries, what's nice about them? They're rechargeable, they're lightweight. We use them all over the place, and we'll get more into that in the presentation of every place we use them. But the nice thing about them is they are not used in devices that require an uninterruptible power source. So not like your UPS and stuff like that. They're lightweight, but they hold a lot of power, and like I said, we use them everywhere. So this is the chemical makeup of all of the different ones. Does it really matter? Does any of us really understand this? Some of you scientists may. I'm not going to say I really understand this. The point is they're not all made the same way. There's many different kinds out there, and the chemistry really depends on the use of those. So here's how they're made. So there's the anode, which is the negative electrode, the cathode, which is the positive electrode, and then the separator. The separator is what's important. When the separator starts breaking down, when something happens to that battery, gets damaged, that's when we have the problem. That's when we have the fire, that's when we have the thermal runaway. And it not only, we're gonna have fire, but it's gonna have flammable gas and toxic fumes. It's also gonna expand when it is damaged, possibly under pressure. Kind of a funny thing that happened to me personally is one day I'm sitting in my office, my laptop's sitting there, always in the charger. It's a mistake. Always charging, sitting there, all of a sudden my laptop goes poof and opens part way. And the screen had melted. Well, I had a lithium ion battery in there, and back then, it's been a few years ago, back then that lithium ion came in a foil pack. And that foil pack kept getting harder and harder, and hotter and hotter and hotter, and it kept expanding. And pretty soon, it got hot enough, it started melting the screen and expanded enough where it popped the screen off of the frame. In my own office, as the fire marshal. That's what I thought. So I literally carefully took it outside, let it sit outside for a while, took it to IT and went, I think I have a problem. And they said, well, you're not the first one, in fact, you're the third one. So we took all of those types of computers out of service right then. We got them out of there. Again, don't charge your lithium-ion batteries all the time. I'll repeat that about 15 more times. So where do we see these at? You see the coin type, in your remotes, garage door remotes, cylindrical, your toys. I've even seen them. I've seen them in smoke detectors. Maybe not the best idea. The pouch type, like I was talking about, in laptops, different things like that. Again, they don't make them like they used to. They're a little bit more safe in that setup now. And the last type there, the prismatic, those are going to be in we don't have a whole lot of them. I only know of one, maybe two, where they'll build a building, put a bunch of these batteries in there, and that's kind of a backup power system. Maybe there is more, I don't know the whole state, but it's just not very popular here right now. We use generators and diesel and natural gas. So that's what's a lot of times it's done here. So where are they? I mean, if you think about stuff we have like right here, cell phones, got 2 in my pocket, tablets, laptops, vaping devices, hopefully nobody has one of those on them, electric toothbrushes, e-scooters, bikes, hoverboards, power tools, that's a big one. Again, I'm gonna say it again, charge your electric drill up and then unplug it. I covered a fire just the other day, not a ton of damage. Thank goodness they put the charger for the drill on the ground, but smoked up the whole garage, ruined their whole garage, part of their house, because they had left their drill battery charging on the charger, and it eventually melted down. And probably just because of that little battery, you know, this big a battery cost them probably, I don't know, I'm gonna guess damage is probably around 50 grand. And that caught nothing else on fire. That was, thank goodness, sitting on the ground. They had enough sense to set it on the ground, and it wasn't on the top of the magazines, because I've had that before. That burnt down a $2.5 million house. They put a remote control car battery, like we talked about, the cylindrical ones, was charging it up on top of their magazines they were throwing away, their recycling, and off it went. Energy storage device, electric vehicles. Real quick story about electric vehicles. Safe, and all these things are safe if we treat them right. I'm not saying everything's doom and gloom and we shouldn't have electric stuff or not use lithium-ion batteries. But a little quick story, Florida has a hurricane, the water comes up, electric vehicles go underwater, water goes away, 2 or 3 days later, all these electric vehicles start catching on fire. The bad thing about these electric vehicles is what you don't know about them is the batteries are all on the bottom and they're sealed, hard for firefighters to get to. Even if you do break them open, again, we go back into thermal runaway, some of them it was taking 4 to 6 hours, up to 24 hours to put out these fires. So what they started doing was filling dumpsters with water and dunking the cars in. And what they figured out is that took about 3 days for them to go out. So bad things when these things get damaged. A lot of places, and I'm not going to stand up here and preach to you guys, but a lot of places are letting these electric cars burn, because the burn time is about 2 hours. Or if you sit there and try to put water on it, you might be looking up to 16 to 24 hours to put out a car if you're constantly putting water on it. Best thing to do is let it burn. So if you've got an electric car, which I was told somebody has one, right in the middle here. If you have an electric car, tell them to let it burn. You can get another one. So, kind of like we already talked about, you know, something causes damage, it's going to heat up, and then it's going to go to those neighboring cells too, and that's kind of what it does in those vehicles. It'll start out in one cell of that vehicle, and it'll spread to all of them. And that's why it's so hard to put out, is you're getting all the gas, all the flammability, just the chemical reaction of all of those. It's not, it just stay to one battery, so it'll go to all of them. A lot of times, like I said, those cars, the whole bottom plate is solid, and that above it is all batteries, and they're all linked together. So, what are like I said, they're not all bad. If you treat them right, they're fine. Voltage is great, capacity is great, they last forever. I mean, you can use that cordless drill for days sometimes. The life cycle, they last a long time, the performance, but then you also have the fire hazards, the electrical shock stuff, and then the toxic gas that they leave around. So again, if we treat them right, they'll treat us right. Next few slides are just some of the stuff that they're doing for National Fire Prevention Week. Sean took some of my thunder. I wanted to talk about the Great Chicago Fire, but it's fine.
Talk about Peshtigo.
No, I don't think I want to.
Okay.
I don't know that one as well. I do remember it, but I don't know it as well. These are just different things, different stuff that NFPA comes up with. I thought this slide was interesting because it points out, and it's kind of fuzzy on this, but you can kind of see all the different things that are just in your house that I mean, I was sitting there thinking the other day, man, I have headphones. I don't have a scooter. You know, I have bike. I have power tools. I have a laptop. I have, you know, right on the list. Most of us have those things. I mean, my watch, my phone, just the stuff that's touching me right now. I mean, you have these things all over. You don't even think about it. And again, they come up with, you know, English, Spanish, even French. They come up with stuff like this where people can come up there and they can take the different tabs, and all those tabs, you can't really read it on this slide, but it talks about the stuff I've been talking about, like unplug it when it's done charging. Just the different things the different stuff you can hand out to tell them what is safe and not safe. And they got coloring books for the kids, like I was talking about, the different things that they do. You can go around and do the fire prevention folks can go around and do the pictures and put it on social media. And like we talked about, you know, we always have Fire Prevention Week the same week of the year. Again, when I talked about it, you know, always have one in the charger is a bad idea. And that's just the different things that these different images that they made are pointing out. Another thing that you really need to look at is it listed? Don't buy something off a website that isn't listed. Don't buy something from the major different, you know, Lowe's, Menards, Home Depot that isn't listed. And usually those guys, those big box stores sell stuff that's listed. And what I'm talking about listed is UL, FM, Global, just the different listings. Make sure if you're going to buy something, you took it over, you look for that stamp that says it's listed. Like I talked about already, charging on a hard surface. Don't put it under your bed, couch, under a pillow. I can tell you almost all of my agents, almost all the city guys that cover their own fires, almost all of them have covered a fire where someone has been charging a phone underneath their pillow. Almost everyone. That's ridiculous. Do them outside if you can. Flat, dry area, out of the sun, not being wet or where you're going to trip over it. There's a ton of videos out there if you go to YouTube of bikes and scooters charging inside, and for some reason all these people have you know, Nest cameras or Ring cameras that's actually on the bike or scooter. Or you're not on it, but pointing at it. I don't know if that's a coincidence or they're trying to prove insurance. But tons of videos out there you can go watch one after another. They're all the same. You'll see it start smoking and then it pops and fire and then the house burns down. You can recycle them. There's a website you can go to right there. And the nice thing about that, you can find your drop-off location and punch in Des Moines, Iowa, and guess what? There's a whole bunch of them. Lowe's, Menards, Lowe's, Home Depot, different places around. Look at all of them around Des Moines where you can take those lithium-ion batteries to make sure they are recycled the right way, and don't just throw them away. Believe it or not, trash trucks catch on fire too. Have them occasionally 2 or 3 a year in Iowa catch on fire. I'm not saying it's always lithium-ion batteries, but they can't help. Again, just some more stuff that the fire prevention folks can hand out. Just thought it was good to show that NFPA really goes above and beyond, really does the whatever topic they're covering really well, and really covers the gamut of young to old. And that's what I got. Anybody have any questions on that? Thank you. Any questions? Yeah.
Do you ever worry about getting fired?
All the time, every day. I was just telling somebody I've been fire marshal for 8 years. I've been at the state for 28. I know I only look 28, but that's not true. But no, every day. It's a fun job. It's a rewarding job. I get to go around and talk to groups all the time, and I do have a lot of fun. Get to go to the fires I want to go to because of my position, and don't have to go to the ones I don't want to go to. You know, it's good, and yeah, every day. But I think to a point everybody probably does. But I hope I do an okay job. I try to serve the people that I serve and try to do a good job. But you know, it just takes one person to decide I'm not doing my job okay. So. But no, it's been a good career, and I got 4 years and 9 months left, not that I'm counting, so I can retire. So, yeah, it's been a good career. Yes, sir.
Do you see a correlation between the state of the economy and the number of arson claims that you get asked
Oh.
to look at?
Absolutely. I mean, I could point back to when the economy's been down in the past and our call numbers go through the roof. I can tell you, normal years when the economy's good, we'll run 280 to, I'd say 250 to 280 for call outs. And for the years where the economy's not so good, we'll be well above 300. And that's not a coincidence. And we work with attorneys, insurance fraud, all the time. And I'm not saying every fire out there is an insurance fraud or every fire out there is a crime, because it's not. I mean, fires happen because we make mistakes. You know, we as normal folks make mistakes. You know, we charge our batteries too long, or smoking, or whatever, cooking fires. But yeah, it's definitely a correlation. Someone agree? Yeah.
So we have all the electronics today, but 100 years ago, there was a lot more open flames in these houses. So as a percentage of home ownership, are there more fires today or less fires today?
Oh, about a quarter of the fires we had a century ago, and it kind of goes up from there. We don't hardly have any fires anymore compared to what we used to. Same with fire deaths. Those of you who don't know, smoke detectors came into existence mid to late 70s, probably around then. And fire deaths started to go way down. We used to be, every year, we were always over 100 before the 70s, and I just put number 29 on the website today. Which 0 is what we want to be at, obviously, but 29 for this year, that's not too bad. We range between 35 and 50 a year in Iowa, which is our normal spot since the 70s. Yeah, I think one year, in 2017, we had 56, which is pretty high for us. And I know 2013 we had 23, and I cannot correlate anything. I can't correlate good winter, bad winter, because that seems to, like, in Iowa when we have a lot of ours, honestly, is a lot of them's heating related. Yeah, space heaters. I'm not saying that's all of them, because it's definitely not. But ours seem to be, a lot of them seem to be weather related. We always have 2 or 3 a year where people are outside burning leaves and branches and stuff, and they catch themselves on fire. I mean, it varies. So, good question. Yes, sir.
So I have a wood-burning fireplace in my home, and last year I had it serviced, and now it requires an inspection as well as the service. So I went from $75 a year to service it to $300 to do both of those things. And they said it was now state law. Is that correct, or am I being taken?
It's not my state law. I don't need to be fired. It's not my state law. I would ask them to see the code section. I'm not saying it's not, but if it's state law, there's going to be an Iowa code section. Ask your attorney. But yeah, I would ask them to see the Iowa code section. It's a good idea, yeah. It's a peace of mind, yeah. I mean, I get what they're doing. They're making money just like everybody else. But I would definitely ask to see the code section. That's how you can usually make them start backpedaling if that doesn't exist. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thanks for your presentation today. What is the route you took to become fire inspector? Did you start as a fireman, or?
Yes and no. So, all I ever wanted to be growing up was a state trooper. So I went to college for that. I went to Capitol Police down at the Capitol guarding the governor because I was only 21. I wasn't old enough to be I wasn't old enough to be a trooper, which was 22 when I graduated college. So went down there as a year as an officer, a year as a sergeant, and then I got to go to the state patrol for 5.5 years. Most of that time I was a fatality investigator for car accidents, which I love doing. Not that I wanted people to die, but it was more than walking up and giving somebody a ticket, which I like to do that too, but it's another story. But I love doing fatality investigations just because it involved math and physics, and that's what I like to do. So I love figuring those things out. And then I was presented with an opportunity to go to the fire marshal's office as a fire inspector, which was more money and Monday through Friday job as a fire inspector. So I did that. Simultaneously, I joined the Waukee Fire Department, which I've been on for 25 years, and I've been on the Clyde Fire Department for 10 years because I don't apparently like to be at home. Which is fine. I got 2 daughters that I've raised that I've had to pay for a lot of stuff. For those of you who have daughters, know what I'm talking about. And then once I got in the fire marshal's office, about a year and a half later, they put me in charge of inspections. About a year after that, I got put in charge of building code. A couple years after that, I got put in charge of the Fire Service Training Bureau. So I kind of got my feet in all those different bureaus and got those experiences. So when it came time, when the last fire marshal retired, I was able to speak to those different areas and had some time in all of them, which I think helped me get this job. And like I said, I didn't get here by myself. Lots of people got me here. So I've been fire marshal for 8 years, and like I said, I got about little under 5 left. Yeah, that's how I got here today. Yes, ma'am.
How many times have the dogs found a bomb?
How many times have the dogs found a bomb? Depends on how you want to look at it. A lot of times people will put hoax things out there. They'll put a plastic pipe with a fuse hanging out of it, and it's nothing. They want to scare people. Or they'll put together something they think's going to go off. You know, firecrackers around a pop bottle with nails in it. And is it going to go off? Probably. Is it going to hurt somebody? Maybe. Yeah, absolutely, we do find devices out there. We run about 100 to 120 bomb calls a year, and I'm not going to tell you all those are devices. Some of those are, you know, Grandpa came back from the war, he passed away, he brought grenades, and we even had a missile. And I'm not kidding. Grenades, missiles, mortars. We had a cannonball last week. That people, you know, they'll clean out Grandpa's house and there they are. So we have our fair share of those too. I would say 20 to 25 in a year. And then the rest of them are, you know, hoaxes. Occasionally, yes, we do have a real device. We do have 2 robots. They're about $500,000 a piece. They can go down range. We can have eyes on because one's got 5 cameras, one's got 7 cameras, so we can see everything. We can go down range without sending a person down range. And they can look to see what we got. We can also outfit it with a shotgun. So if we have a package and we're not sure what's in it, we can blow that package apart with a shotgun that goes in the robot. It's a little more complicated than that, but it'll take too long to explain. But we have that for the robots. That's really nice. If we do have to go down and put hands on, we also have, every one of our agents has a bomb suit. Every bomb suit is $50,000. The helmet alone, because of all the electronics, is $10,000. I say all this because I have to buy all this stuff all the time. Yeah, we send them down range in those things sometimes if we do have to go hands on and open something or recover something. But yeah, I mean, to put a number on it, not a lot, but one's too many when it's that dangerous. It is very dangerous. It is nice. We've got a tool called a Nano, and it looks like an iPad, so we don't overcharge. And it's also got X-ray built into it, and we take an X-ray source down, and we could do it right now in the room, and you guys wouldn't know it. I could have 2 guys walk in the back. I could have a backpack sitting back there. Those guys would still stand by the backpack. They'd drop the screen right next to the backpack. They'd hit their source. They'd pick it up and leave, and it comes right on their screen. They don't have to go develop it like we used to on the X-rays. It literally is that quick. As soon as that last tick hits on the X-ray, it's on their screen. And they can, so what's nice about that is we can go to the state fair. We can plop that down, do it real quick, look at it on the screen, say it's nothing, and we go on to the next thing. And nobody ever knows we were there. We don't have to clear people out, which you know would be a nightmare at the state fair. We don't alarm people. There's no stampedes, animal or people. But you you can do those things without without interrupting anybody, and nobody ever knows it. So just another layer to keep people safe, another tool that's been really nice.
Thank you, Fire Marshal Woods, for spending time with the Rotary Club of Des Moines today. We appreciate you sharing your message about lithium-ion batteries, and then the update on the State Fire Marshal's office and our state. And our state is a better and safer place because of your office's work. So we appreciate that. And Dan said he would stick around if anyone else has any questions for a few minutes, if you didn't get a chance to ask yours. So, upcoming meetings. 3 more really good speakers coming in the next couple weeks. We've got October 16th, Rob Denson, president of DMAC, will be here to give us an update on DMAC. October 23rd, Peter County, the Iowa State Fair Blue Ribbon Foundation will be here. And then October 30th, Mary Wells, Polk County Treasurer, will be here to give us an update on her office. A few more upcoming events. As like I said, we're trying to really give you all sorts of events that you can for fellowship outside of our Thursday meetings. 2 more morning fuels at Freedom Blend Coffee from 9 to 10 a.m. Tuesday, October 28th, our own Michael Wolnerman will present. And then on November 18th, Susan Judkins will present. The fellowship is free and the coffee is on you. So, as always, thank you for being with us today, for being a vital part of our Rotary Club of Des Moines. Thank you to our 2 guests, and as always, stay true to the good, and we are adjourned.